Warning: the consumption of raw beef may result in an increased risk of mild irritation, general discomfort, and/or hurt feelings. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back. I'm just going to start. No, we already started, but that was the cold open. Raw beef, episode green. I name them by color.
That's my shirt.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And with my favorite guest of any episode green that we've ever done. And you don't know that this is there might have been 20 of these.
There might have been.
There's different shades of green. I'm going with episode 4's green. My guest, like a tree herself, reliable not only on stage, but in friendship. Oh. And you could climb and pee on her, and she doesn't matter. But
doesn't Cats lost in here everywhere.
You could put a rope swing. There's a fucking hammock situation. Yes. Mary Santora.
Oh, thank you for having me, Sean. I'm so happy.
So I just want to say something. I want to ask you a question, and then, are you a baseball fan?
I am.
Are you a fan of the Cleveland Guardians?
Yes.
Have you ever got to go onto the field at Cleveland Guardians Stadium?
I have not.
I got to do this 2 weeks ago.
I hate you so much.
Because
you've been doing this at different stadiums, haven't you? This isn't the only one.
I'm
creeping it. I'm looking at your Instagram, and I'm like, I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm on the radio here. If I have any level of fame in any city, it's Cleveland. And you're out on the field.
You are on the radio in Cleveland.
I am on the radio in Cleveland.
And they're not letting you walk on the field. And are you not throwing out a first pitch?
I want to throw out a first pitch so bad.
Cleveland Guardians. You heard it here first.
Well, you know what? I'm saving it because I feel like throwing out a first pitch and a GoFundMe are the same. Where it's like you only get one, maybe two in your life.
Okay.
So I'm like waiting for maybe like a Netflix special or a movie premiere or something to be like, hey, let me come out and promote this big thing by throwing out the first pitch.
I mean, so this is the quick story is I'm on the road right now opening for David Cross, and he's a massive baseball fan.
Yes.
And so everywhere we go, a lot of these MLB teams will reach out to him and either offer tickets, but then the Cleveland Guardians are like, you want to come throw out the first pitch? And he was like,
so cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, we're pulling in to the garage to park, and it gets rained out. But we're there, and the rain hasn't really started yet. And they're like, "Well, if you want to go on the field, we can still do that.
Just like hang out, yeah."
Yeah, and if you want to just throw a pitch, you could still do that, but it's not going to be." And he was like, "Fuck it," and we go on the field.
So the game didn't happen.
The game didn't happen.
Okay.
But he still like threw a pitch to just another guy like on the side.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Would you like a tour of the stadium?" And we had about 2 hours to kill before the show, right? And at first, it's like, here's where the press box is. Here's where they call the game. Here's all these old statues. I mean, like, there's the Walk of Fame where you see like Jim Tope and all these statues. Tomey, yeah, sorry. I know. I'm telling you, dude.
You're in color mode.
Exactly.
Jim
Tope. Yeah.
Jim Tope and Bob Yellow. He's hanging out.
Those guys should hit baseballs. I'm a newly minted baseball fan. It's weird.
That's okay.
But I'm learning. Yeah, and then like. That guy who died, who was like the drummer at the stadium, you know what I'm talking about?
I have his sticker in my purse, yes.
Okay, so
I think his name is John Adams.
Yeah, they have his drum set. Yeah. They have his like drum that he had. It's there, and it's like in the like Walk of Fame. And then we're like touring. We're seeing the VIP boxes and then the lounge area. And then the tour starts getting like, so do you guys want to see, like, come with us? So this is where we have lunch every day. This like, and we're like, okay, this is interesting now that we're seeing.
Yeah.
And then at one point we walk clearly past 3 baseball players.
Yes.
I don't know who they are, but they're clearly professional athletes because even though they don't look it, they're still giant.
Yes.
They're still giants.
Yes.
They're still Adonises. And I'm like, gee, I wonder who those 3 guys were. Never mind. This guy's giving us a tour. Very sweet guy.
This is where I put out my cigarette butt. Hey, over here. This is where I put out my cigarette butts.
I'm not,
was that Jose Ramirez?
The thing that made us go, hey, we got to go was, so this is my desk. I'm serious. We're just walking through, and the next thing I know, he's like, so this is my desk. This is where I work. And we're like, okay, I mean, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Now we do have to go there.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, because next it's going to be like, so we're going to get in the car, going to go to my mom's house. I want to show you guys where I first became a fan of baseball and lost my virginity.
This is where my dad threw me my first baseball, and I had my moments. And this is his grave. Exactly. We buried him in the backyard.
Like the next thing you know, we like have a sip of fucking tea at his parents' house, and we both wake up. Like,
just hogtied.
Hogtied. He's like, you know, guys, I'm taking you to my old high school.
Don't worry about it.
I want you to see the first time I realized I love sports.
Yeah,
you know?
Here it is.
But no, he was a very nice guy.
Coach never put me in when he was supposed to. You know, if he'd have put me in the third,
exactly,
that game would have gone different.
That game would have gone different, and maybe you'd be getting a tour of my achievements. He was a sweet dude, but we saw every square inch of that stadium.
Yeah. It's not a huge stadium.
It's not.
So
but it is a very cool park.
I love it. I love it. And we work downtown now. We broadcast downtown. I'm on the Alan Cox Show in Cleveland. So our studios are literally like two blocks over. And they do like $10 standing room only tickets. So it's like during day games during the summer, pop over, go in at noon, hang out for an hour and a half, and then go to work. It's like you can't beat it.
Here's what I got to ask every hardcore baseball head then. How do you feel about the new rules?
Here's the thing.
Yeah?
I feel like a lot of games are going into extra innings now. Where it's like maybe it's just the Guardians.
But you pay more attention. I don't know.
The Guardians went on a streak of extra innings, like 8 games in a row, and I was just like, "What is happening?" And I didn't know if it was because of the pitch clock, because they're being. Everyone's got to get used to it. Not just the pitchers, the batters having time to hit their shoes and do their little routines and do all that. It's like rushing everybody.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just throwing it off. It's different, and nobody likes change, especially when it comes to baseball. I mean, it took
been around for 200 years.
It took 150 years for them to be like, maybe we could speed it up.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it took 40 years for them to be like, hey, black people can play in the same league.
They might be able to.
Yeah, I think we could do this together.
Could try.
We should be friendly.
Give it an asterisk, but we'll figure it out. But the thing that I had to come to terms with about myself. Now, I do love baseball. Okay, but when I was drinking,
How sober are you now?
4 years. 4 years and change.
That's like getting a degree in sobriety.
Oh my
4
God!
years.
Yes, I did put in my time. I have associates.
That's like a bachelor's, I think.
I thought bachelor's was less than associates.
No, associates.
I dropped out of college. Mike
would know. Mike's the doctor.
Bachelor is above associates.
Yeah. Okay, so it is a bachelor's
Associate
degree.
is barely above high school.
Okay,
All right. Well, there you go then.
You just got your bachelor's in sobriety.
I did. Where's my diploma?
Well, you got to major in something. Now you got to go to grad school for.
I'm gonna start a podcast. That's me going to grad school. I'll start a sobriety podcast.
All right, it begins. Hey,
here it is. So when I was sober, or when I was drunk, it was love baseball, love baseball, love baseball. I got sober, and then I was like, I liked being drunk during the day.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I am not as big of a baseball fan as I thought I was.
Hilarious.
I am a much, much bigger football fan.
That's
like as a sober person,
right.
I still am screaming and getting into football games and like am so into it. Yeah. And then when I started going to baseball games sober, I was kind of like, this is long. Like this is a lot. When I'm not hammered at noon, this is a pretty long game.
Dude, every single person I have taught. So I've only experienced live baseball with the new rules.
Okay. Oh, you've never been to a baseball game?
I've only been to one so far MLB game, and that was like a month ago at Wrigley Field. Yeah, only one. I didn't grow up with baseball.
You're from New Orleans.
I didn't, yeah. And we've had this conversation, but like living here in New York, Yankees and Mets fans will make you not want to be a baseball fan.
I'm sure.
It's either entitled asshole or pity me assholes.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'll do my own thing, guys. You guys have fun.
Yeah.
And and then now so many New York baseball fans gonna be like, fuck you. And I'm like, well,
right. Like, hey, listen.
You're proving my point right now.
Yeah.
So I went to the game and it was fun as hell because it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and it moved.
It moves now. It definitely moves.
Which I was like, oh, this is so much better than watching athletes think.
They're just hanging out.
And completely give in to superstitions.
100%.
It's like, oh, now they have to say their prayers quicker at the bat, and now the pitcher has to like actively like
time to
gear
go
up for the next one.
Yeah.
And I found it engaging. Because I was just like, oh, this is moving. You have to like pay attention.
Yes.
And like,
well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Because people would just go and take a nap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would always say the two places I would never take a first date were to a baseball game and to an amusement park.
Yeah.
Because it's so much downtime that it's like, if this sucks, we're in it. Yeah. And if it goes into extra innings or like amusement park specifically, there's Cedar Point in Ohio, which is like the biggest amusement park, one of the biggest in the whole world. Best in the country.
Wait, Cedar Point?
It's in Sandusky. It's 45 minutes from Cleveland.
I thought that was a military academy. What am I thinking
Cedar
of?
Point.
Oh, West Point.
Oh.
Don't get those confused.
You show up at West Point when you got on your flip-flops and your...
Let's do it. Where's the ride?
Where's the airbrush t-shirt stand?
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
You show up to fucking Cedar Point
dress.
like, yes, sir. Reporting for duty.
Oh, here.
Oh, what the fuck?
What are you here to defend?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Got those confused. I'm a doofus.
Fresh cut fries? That's what I'm here to represent.
Yeah.
But like, it's just those lines take forever.
Wait, where's Cedar Point?
It's in Sandusky, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes west of Cleveland.
Wait a minute. This is where I'm going to sound like a fucking doofus times two. Sandusky's an actual city.
What did you think it was?
A fictitious place where the film Tommy Boy took place.
Boy, baby. You thought they just made up a city in
They
Ohio?
do that in so many movies.
Do they?
Yeah, they
No,
make up
Sandusky's
Gotham
real.
City. That's not real.
Okay, that's different. That's a comic book.
But
That's
I mean,
not even like real people.
It's not real. It's not real. Metropolis, that ain't real either.
Did you see Major League and you're like, Cleveland's not real. They don't have a baseball team. Like, come on.
You can't even say Indians in that city anymore, so I proved that it exists.
I guess you're right. But yes,
I love to see the re-edited version, they re-edit.
they just dub over
It's
Guardians.
like Guardians, yeah.
It doesn't match the lips up. Guardians.
Guardians. Go Guardians. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Sandusky's a real place. Yeah.
Okay, and there's a giant fucking...
Huge.
Okay.
Biggest amusement park in the country.
Cedar Point. Okay,
They
continue.
like continuously win awards
right.
for best roller coasters, best everything. It's
So if
America's
it's- if
rock
it-
and roller coast.
If it's in North Ohio, it's on Lake
It's on
Superior?
the Lake Erie.
Lake Erie.
Yeah, it's right there. Like when you're up, you can look over. You overlook the lake, at the top of the hills. It's amazing.
Oh.
Dude, next time you're in Cleveland, I'll take you to Cedar Point.
All right.
It's like, do you like roller coasters?
I love all that shit.
It's so much fun.
I love
It's
roller
such
coasters.
a great day. Like if it's
Yeah.
not too hot or raining or anything, but like a day like today, 75 and sunny. Oh,
we did the Agora Theater, which was one of my favorite theaters that we've done
Love
so
the
far.
Agora. They put in-
Amazing.
I'd say
Yeah.
it's been probably 7 or 8 years now, but they put in millions of dollars to renovate that place.
Yeah.
It used to be like a grungy rock
Oh,
venue, and
interesting.
then it's beautiful now when you go in there.
but
Yeah.
it's still got a little grunge.
Yeah, well, it's just the right amount, right?
It's like
yeah.
it's like the preacher who you could still see their neck tattoos.
Yeah.
You're like,
They
oh, you
tried
went
to
through
get
some-
it dissolved off or
You
whatever.
went through some shit. You know?
Right,
You
yeah.
got stories.
You have earned.
You've earned
the status.
my respect.
Right.
Well, also, I mean, I'd be remiss if I did not bring this up because I say it a lot. Ohio and Texas are two states to me that are so interesting because they both get so much hate and so much love. Right? I love Cincinnati. I love Cleveland. I even love Columbus. I'm gonna say it. I've got a love for Columbus,
Yeah.
even though I know a lot of people are like fastest growing city. I'm like, it's still a sprawl. It's a
fine.
sprawl.
Yeah.
But I have seen more Confederate flags in Ohio than I ever saw growing up in Louisiana.
Yeah. It's truly insane. Like when people come to Ohio for the first time, they have that misconception where that's all that it is. But I'm like, it's like any Midwest state. Okay. If you're not familiar with the Midwest, it's like you've got your 3 big blue cities and then everything else is red. They want it to be
Bloody.
1915 in every other part of the state, you know?
One of the most insanely interesting drives I've ever taken in my entire life. This was in 2020, September 2020, late pandemic. I was at Go Bananas Comedy Club.
Love it.
Love it, where we met.
Yes.
Years before where we met.
Forever ago.
And they were doing outdoor shows in the parking lot.
Yes.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And it was myself and my ex at the time and Cypher Sounds and Will Sylvans, who are both very close friends with Dave Chappelle and go on the road with him a lot. So we're in Cincy. And Cypher's like, hey, let's go up to Dave's land and hang out for a couple days.
Yeah, outside of Dayton.
Right.
It's only
And
like 45
Yellow
minutes.
Springs,
An hour
and that's
maybe.
when Dave was doing like the Netflix or like the shows.
Yeah.
But we went up on like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So in no shows, we're just hanging out.
Right.
It's a fun experience. But the drive from Cincy to Yellow Springs, I mean, we saw every type of Trump 2020 billboard, stick you
MAGA,
can, but also a barn with a full, I'm talking, it had a massive scale portrait painted of Donald Trump.
Yes.
And it was like, that's a barn. That's a work. Somebody put work in.
They love it.
And then all of this just, very right-wing shit. And then the moment you hit Yellow Springs, it's just like, rainbow flag, rainbow flag, rainbow flag, rainbow flag.
No
rainbow
hate lives
flag.
here.
No hate, no
we
hate.
believe in this house. We believe in science, equality, yes, feminism.
Black Lives Matter, Black Lives
Yes,
Matter, rainbow flag. You're like, whoa.
They have to make up for it.
Dude, it was just, it's almost immediate.
Yes.
You're just like,
You get
man.
within like city limits and you're like, this is a pretty cool place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was
It's
exactly.
scary in the middle. It's
Yeah,
scary in the
yeah.
middle. The thing is, I work a lot in the Midwest, coming from Cleveland, Ohio.
So you're in like that's like the base. Your
That's
home
the base, right? So I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and it's so funny talking to New York comics because you guys, what I admire so much about New York comics is how tight the writing is. You guys are born into 3-minute sets, right? So you have 3 minutes sets, 5 minutes sets, 8 minutes sets, so boom, 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 right?
Right.
As a Midwest comic, you are given 40 minutes 2 years in.
Right.
But you're in these places that are so political that you're like, I have to find out how not to piss anybody off.
Right.
I don't know how to tell a joke, and I have to learn how to fill 40 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like you find these people, and it's I don't know how to describe it other than it really is just Those states that are purple are purple. Wisconsin, Michigan,
Right.
Ohio, Pennsylvania. Like,
Yeah. You're
I
no
was in-
slouch, though.
what do you mean?
Like, I mean, but you're okay, but I've seen, you know, we've all seen Midwestern comedy. There could be like a little too much of a loose sort of pandery.
Yes.
That's not everybody, but just I get it. People have to do what they have to do to get
Right.
by. But like, that's never been you. I've never seen you and been like, man, she's just got filler.
Well, I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
it's also, I think I started doing the road when I was probably 3 or 4 years in. So you're thrown into these situations.
Trial by fire.
100%, man. Like, and it's so funny because people talk about these horrible gigs. You're talking about, you know, sports fans and things. I had to do a gig in Wisconsin on a Sunday that the Packers played in a bar that they did not know comedy was happening. So there's like 6 drunk dudes in this dive bar, and then you have to get up and be like, okay, the Packers lost today, so I can't talk about sports. I definitely passed all of this right wing. They are actively trying to take away some of women's rights, but Green Bay and Appleton, and there's different places that are also very,
Right.
so it's like you kind of are forced into it, and not even just in stand-up, I feel like in life.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who you're going to run into at the grocery store, or who you're going to, and everyone in the Midwest loves starting conversations for no reason.
Dude.
Like,
Yeah.
just, and by
Yeah.
the way, guilty.
Same.
100%. I will be in the grocery store and just look at people like, dude, look at all this corn. Do you see how many different types of corn? When did corn, sweet, semi-sweet, mix it with limonades? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I didn't know corn could be so multicultural.
it's insane. It's insane.
I'd call that maize. Now that's maize.
The deeper color.
Yeah, that's a maize.
It's a little maize
You gotta
right there,
respect
you know?
that. It's like mezcal and tequila.
You just got to put it together.
Wait. The side note, is that also you on flights?
No. So I don't talk on flights. I
don't
am
even-
very much a sleep on flights kind of
Okay.
person.
Then you and I could do the road together.
Yes,
because
I don't talk
I'm
to anybody
very
on a
much don't even talk to the person I'm with on the flight.
No.
I
I want to sleep on a flight as much as I can because the road already sucks enough that
Yeah.
I'm trying to have some semblance of a schedule. So if I'm going to be at the airport at 4 in the morning, give me that window seat. I brought my little neck pillow.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Pull my jacket up over my head. Like,
I say this to anyone. If you see me traveling, I am at it 60%.
Yeah.
My brain is just dulled down to basic
It's
motor skills only.
exhausting.
But I need, exactly. I'm
Traveling is
conserving
so
it for later.
exhausting.
So like when I see, sometimes I like run into friends or people. If someone recognizes me from comedy, of course I say hello, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. I love it. But sometimes I run into people where they're like, "Oh my God, what?" And I'm like, I'm at the airport. I have headphones in.
can't.
I have
I
sunglasses on in the airport.
right.
And it's not because I'm trying to hide anything. It's because my eyes hurt.
Yeah.
Because I didn't sleep much.
Right,
I just want to
exactly.
get on the flight, and I'm not. Sometimes I get on a flight where I get upgraded last minute to first class, and I don't even eat the food or drink any
'Cause you're too
beverages.
tired.
I just need to sleep.
Yes.
I just need to shut down.
I flew from a gig to vacation on Easter Sunday. Okay, so
I
got
thought you were going to say Easter Island for a second. I'm
yes,
like, yeah,
vacation
dude,
on Easter Island.
That's a fucking gig.
Not much to see.
The big old heads, the Maui, what are they called? Not Maui. Oops. I say things.
It's okay.
It's Maru.
I have no idea what they're called.
The statues. Mike
I
knows.
know what they are. You can
Dr.
pretend-
Mike.
Moai.
Why?
And-
MOAI.
Okay.
You know what's really fucking awesome about those things?
What?
The heads. They're like icebergs in a sense. Because the heads are sticking out, but they dug down
No,
deep.
they didn't.
Yes, they did. They
How
all
do
have-
you know that?
You get pictures
Prove
of
it. Prove
They
it.
all, Mikey? Got
No,
pictures?
I'm just
no. But they have bodies. They like dug down into
I
the earth
didn't
and
know
they have like
that.
full bodies and shit. Not all of them, but a majority of them.
I definitely didn't
it's
know that.
fucking insane, dude.
one of the 7 wonders of the world or whatever.
Might be 8. Look at that. Oh, this
that's
is the
crazy.
8th wonder right
That's
there.
it,
The internet.
Mhm. Yeah. A Mac, huh?
Oh,
or
wow.
Easter. Look at that. Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Very nice.
It's I think it might have froze.
But no, traveling is.
Wait, so flying home on
that's
Easter?
what I was gonna say. I was flying to Arizona on Easter, and I got upgraded because there was nobody on these flights.
Right.
But I had driven through the night from a gig to catch like a 5 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
And I was very much in the same way. They had like I was flying. I switched in Denver, so both flights had food options, and I was just like, I have to sleep because I will be a zombie. And I was meeting my boyfriend and his daughter. So I'm like, we have a full day of activities. Like if I do not get an hour of sleep, I'm
Hour
going to
at
be,
least.
right, I'm going to be a mess.
And not even your daughter.
No, it's my, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's definitely an adjustment to like have no kids and then come into a 4-year-old's life. But it's,
okay, 4-year-old at least.
well, I met her when she was 4. She's 7 now.
But at least at an age where they can be like Like it's not like 12.
No,
or
she's
like,
no.
Yeah.
And I told Brian,
I don't like Mary, Dad.
Yeah, right. I'm sure we'll get there. Like that's coming.
Mary's got a nose
Absolutely.
ring. It's dumb.
I hate it. No, she's very sweet, but it's like I have 12 nieces and nephews, and I say for little kids, the golden ages I think are 8 to 11. I think that's when they really have their own personalities. They're like they still think you're super cool.
Right.
They still love you. They still want to hang out, but they have their own opinions. They're forming their own thoughts. Like they're kind of understanding who they are a little bit.
Right.
And then after, middle school is when they start to turn into assholes. But we're coming into that really fun age.
Right.
That's always been my favorite age with kids. Is like 7 to 10, 8 to 11 is like such a fun time.
And they haven't been tainted by puberty yet.
That's exactly what I
just
mean.
Innocent little
They're
people.
just hanging out. They're
yeah.
having fun. They're still very much little kids.
Right.
But you can like talk to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's very
if they,
cool.
Any hatred they have towards each other can be easily remedied.
Give them a cookie.
It's all temporary.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all temporary hatred.
So actually, my boyfriend's daughter's name is Blake, and I have, like I said, 12 nieces and nephews, right?
Yes.
Talk about temporary hatred. She, we were at Thanksgiving, and she was playing house with one of my nieces, and in the game of house, she got grounded. Blake grounded my niece. Damn. And she did not like that, so she took a Barbie and hit her in the face with it. Okay? So, not great. Screaming, crying, we separate them. And then this is months later. So that was November.
Right.
We get my niece's like spring school pictures and hang it up on the fridge. And Blake looks at it and she goes, I haven't forgiven her yet. And I was like, dude, like, you gotta let it go, man. But she like held on to it. And it was like, I guess, like, you got this hatred from being hit in the face with a Barbie.
Barbie to the face will...
That's not an easy thing.
Will make you feel some kind of way, as they say. That would be hilarious. You open her closet one day and there's just like a shrine to your niece of just like...
We just like circling a line through
it's
it.
just like, but it's like a long game. You know what I mean? She's gonna like become best friends with your niece and be like, you're so beautiful and tall and your hair should be so blonde.
Oh my God, it's so
And
beautiful.
just turn her into a Barbie.
Yeah, oh, right.
And then realize like, and this is all you have is your appearance.
Pops her head off.
Exactly.
Pulling out her arms.
Oh, why?
I can't do it.
I still bear the scars.
Yeah.
I learned this from my mother, Mary. She's not my real mom.
I haven't gotten hit with one of those yet.
I mean, you got a long way to go.
I know.
I hope you don't ever get. Well, you probably will.
The closest I got, we were at gymnastics, and I didn't have any cash, and they have like a snack stand. A little bag of chips is $1, but they don't take credit card. We're at a gymnastics place. And I was like, honey, I don't have any money. I can't get you the snacks. And she was really upset about these Doritos. And she goes, I'm going to go home and tell Dad you can't live with us anymore. And she like ran away. And I was like, Doritos are good.
Yeah.
Like, are they ruin a family good? I don't know about that.
I mean, kind of. Depends.
They were the Cool Ranch. So, I mean, I kind of get it.
For me, it's the purple bag.
Sweet chili.
Sweet chili.
Those are the good ones.
That's the ones where I'm
Those are
like,
the ones.
okay, I'll fucking stop talking to a cousin over these.
Absolutely.
No offense
so
to my
good.
cousins.
Listen, I'm sorry, but figure it out.
Well, speaking of good, speaking of delicious, but also speaking of hatred,
Yes.
we got to get to the beef. Do
Okay.
we? It's
You don't
that's
have
my
to.
that's
I'm
my
just kidding.
fault.
It's your podcast.
Because I oftentimes like I like talking to people so much, especially someone like you who's actually can talk.
We just sit here and I'm like, I don't eat beef.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't even
vegetarian.
know. Why would you eat it raw? That's just so bad for
That
you.
sounds so terrible.
Do you want trichinosis? I mean, that's only from pigs.
I think that's E. coli.
Yeah, cool. Salmonella is mainly from poultry, but
Just quoting FDA.
yeah, you're like, all right, thanks, man.
Yeah, all right,
Well, thanks for having FDA
FDA
comptroller.
Doug, come on.
FDA Doug.
Yeah.
Is that a character on the radio?
No, I just made that up.
Do you got that? Would be a fucking hilarious.
Could be now.
FDA Doug's calling in. and
I mean, if you talk about raw beef, FDA Doug is here to hit you with
that's
some
that's actually a question. So you're on? Is it morning radio or afternoon?
afternoons, 2 to 6:30.
That's great though.
Perfect.
So, but is it like the kind of thing? Because now podcasting, and I know a lot of radio stations have podcasts as well. Mm-hmm. Is it? It's not a different muscle. It's just a different speed, really.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny because getting the job on radio, I've been filling in for a couple years. I got hired full time in 2020, which was like perfect timing, right? Signed the contract at the end of 2019.
Yeah.
Well, not contract, but I'm not
Sure.
on contract. I agreed to it and signed all the papers, whatever. But it has improved because we go in live. We are on live 4.5 hours a day, which is much a different vibe than podcasting.
Oh, for sure.
And there's laws and rules and FCC regulations. So there's things you can't, like content you can't talk about and words you can't use, right? So, but just
7-second delay.
Exactly right. Get that dumb button ready.
Yeah.
But just being on air has changed my stand-up. It has changed podcasts. It's changed how I talk to people because it's like, it's very different. It's made me a lot quicker because you're reacting in the moment 20 hours a week, which is like, I single-handedly say it's the reason I'm good at crowd work. I was always okay at it before, but then being on air for 3 years, it's just, you got to be there, you know?
There's no moments of like, well.
You don't get a second.
Like that. There's none of that.
You can't.
Yeah.
Because you're also on air with 3 other people.
Like, what are you doing?
Right. So it's like there is no dead air. You're always, if you are going to try to slip a joke in, you better get in there fast because we're about to change topics, you know? But no, I love it. I really love it. It's fantastic.
I would be the guy who always comes with the joke 4 topics later.
You like do it but hey.
Yeah. But if they made nachos out of it.
FDA Doug. I remember him.
FDA Doug.
Is it? Huh?
He's late.
What? He's okay.
You know, but he's late because he had trichinosis of the liver.
We're sitting here right now
from drinking blood. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, when he showed you his desk at the stadium, was that a home run?
No. More like a grand slam. Oh God. Grand Slam's bigger than a home run? Yeah, it is. I know what a Grand Slam is.
What's a Grand Slam?
It's when a home run is hit while no one is present at the park during practice.
It is. Do you know what I was honestly waiting for you to quote the Denny's menu? When you're like, I know what a Grand Slam is.
That's fucking not only Midwest. That's not only radio. That's Midwest quick.
Oh, 100%. Like what's
Midwest
I think
fest.
It's two pancakes, your choice of bacon, sausage, or ham. Eggs,
hash browns, and eggs.
Yes, it's the big one.
Yeah, and
the
toast.
Grand Slam.
Yeah, and
coffee
and a side of fruit.
I don't think Denny's.
No, they don't do that.
No, Denny's doesn't have. Dude, one time I got thrown out of a Denny's in Key West, Florida. I was very hungover. Okay. I have a shellfish allergy, and the friend that I was with has a seafood allergy. So, we're ordering. I'm getting a Bloody Mary. I am so violently hungover. Like I am. We slept on a boat. Like I am not in a place. First time in Key West, so we're getting hammered. Right, we're partying. We go to this Denny's, and I ordered my drink. We order our food, and I told her, hey, just so you know, which by the way, we're at a Denny's that has a bar, so that's where you need to. This is where we're at. Right. All right. I said, hey, just so you know, we both have seafood allergies. So if you could just let the kitchen know. And she looks at me and she goes, we don't serve seafood here. And I was in a mode where I was just like, except you do. And I said it right back like that. And she looked at me, and I was with my gay best friend, and he got up and walked out. He was like, I'm not doing this today. I've seen you go into this mode before, but I like turned the menu around at her, and I was like, that's salmon, that's seafood, we're allergic to, I was just so hungover and so aggravated that I was like, don't sit here and tell me you don't have seafood on the menu. So me and her are going back and forth, and then I get the manager involved, and we're all fighting, and they're like, man, we're just gonna have to ask you to leave this Denny's. And I was like, I was so mad at the way I was behaving. Well, like I didn't want to be that person. And then I felt like I had to double down when the manager got involved. And then I was like, I don't even want to be here to begin with. I'm so aggravated. And so I started to get like teary-eyed.
That's a side effect.
I was so mad that I started to get teary-eyed, and I like made it a huge deal that I was like, this could kill people if she's not careful with seafood allergies. They're like, ma'am, calm down. You have to calm down. Like, we need you to leave this establishment. And I get out, and my friend, he's standing out by the truck, and he's just looking at me. He's like, are you done?
Wow.
Did it feel good to do what you did? And I'm like, no, it didn't feel like I was not in a place.
It turns out you're also allergic to dumb bitches.
Right here.
Right.
That's why I'm crying.
That's why it's an allergic reaction to shitty wait staff.
100%.
That's like Karen before Karen.
Yeah.
That's like.
But I knew what I was doing, and I couldn't stop it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, in theory, this is a big deal. If I tell you I have an allergy to something physically, I see a picture on your menu. I say, I am allergic to this. And you say, we don't serve that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but you do. I can see it.
Yeah, there's a moment where I'm like, wait. I'm like, oh, there's fried shrimp all over the place.
Dude.
Denny's.
Yes.
I didn't realize they had salmon.
Well, again.
Nice job, Denny's.
We're at the Denny's with a bar.
Ooh,
baby.
It's Dennis's.
Yes.
That's Denise.
Yes. This is Denise's.
This is
Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, is that now? Okay, that was a pretty good beef right there. That was a little Amusement slider beef.
Okay, so here we'll go.
What's your big one?
I have two, and I wanted to let
Okay.
you choose which way we go with
Ooh,
these. This is a choose your own adventure.
All right.
Well, and I also didn't know if one of these topics had maybe been covered before.
All right, go.
So speaking of entitlement, I hate it.
Okay,
I
okay.
cannot stand entitled, egotistical people. And for me, it is the unearned ego. Because I think you can get to a certain point or be of a certain status where it's like, I get it.
Sure.
I understand where this comes from.
Sure.
All right?
Okay.
There's that. And now I'm blanking on what the other one was. Oh, my God.
I mean,
Oh.
go ahead.
People who will complain about a situation or part of their life or whatever it is, complaining with absolutely no desire to fix the problem.
Ooh.
So those are my two. It's like this, and they kind of blend in a little
about
bit,
to
but
say,
like they
that
can
seems-
kind of go together. But those
Yeah.
are like the two things that are very, very hard for me not to fight with someone about.
I mean, I feel like if we're making a burger out of this, it would be like that's Chuck. One of them's Chuck, and one of them's Fatty Ness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know the burgers.
Regular ground beef.
Yeah, it's regular. Yeah. but like those are. I mean,
They kind of go hand in hand.
because
Yeah.
usually like a super like megalomaniac, egotistical, unchecked, no reason to have that ego having human being will also complain about
Yes.
absolutely everything.
And it blows my mind.
And everyone else should take care of that because they are the chosen one. They are
Yeah.
the special person in the room. They are the fucking. I worked so hard to be here. They'll say that a lot. I
Yes.
worked so hard. It's like, did you?
Right.
Because if you actually worked hard, I don't think you'd be treating other people the way you treat people.
It's insane. Or they have treated people that way their whole life and to
Yeah.
get where they are.
I say this, and I don't give a fuck. This is how I feel.
That's what I like.
Truly believe you can actually tell if anyone actually really worked to get anywhere by how they treat people who aren't important to that situation. See what I'm saying?
People who can't get anything
Yeah,
from.
exactly.
Or people who can't help them.
So saying not important, that's not the way I meant to say it. But you know what I'm
I
saying?
get what, yeah, people who can't
Right.
elevate them in a
Right,
business
right.
sense or whatever.
If you meet that person who is kind of just a cunt or a dick or an asshole or any whatever body part you want to use as a metaphor for
Mean pit.
a mean person, a taint,
Yes.
that means that there was some sort of privilege involved. There was some sort of in that they had.
Right.
There was some sort of like, they cheated the system a little bit, but
Yeah.
not through any fault of their own. They just had a connection, and in some ways, I think they ultimately resent themselves for that.
But here's-
because they know it.
This is where my problem comes in, is that if you had that connection,
Yeah,
acknowledge it.
yeah. It's no big.
Just be so maybe the bigger issue is that I have a problem with people who are not self-aware. Maybe that's what it is, because that kind of ties both those things together.
Yeah, certainly.
Where it's like
Certainly.
you can be handed things
Yeah.
and still be a hard worker, but
Right.
it's the people who are like, no one helped me. Look what I did on my own. And I'm like, you had a $100,000 loan.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
so-and-so vouched
Yeah.
for you. You had this. You had an in at this college.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that really makes me, because
Your best friend became successful and took you for the ride until you were
It's very-
good enough at riding the ride to kind of do it on your own a little bit.
Yes,
See
that
that a
is
lot.
something that drives me
Yeah.
absolutely up a wall, because
That is
I'm like,
a good beef.
I have worked so hard
Yeah.
to be self-aware and to understand
Ooh.
that.
I thought you were about to do the thing. I thought you were about to be like, I've worked so hard to get where I am.
Do you
and
understand-
people need to understand that and open up every door. But
No one has texted me shows this week that I didn't even ask for and gotten me spots that nobody else can get.
oh, that's another side beef is people who do the thing that they just said they hate. But,
No,
you have worked hard to be self-aware.
I actively try to, and this is something that's come out of sobriety, but it's always bothered me. But like trying just to understand where you're at and accept where you're at. Like I was a very poor person, so knowing where we were and the life that I had and the things you have to overcome.
Right.
And then people saying things like "No one helped me," or "I am this," or "I am that," or "I deserve this."
Right.
Because in certain cases, sure, you work hard, you do deserve certain things.
Right.
But it just makes me fully up. So we're talking about flying, right? This just happened a couple weeks ago. I was on a it was like a 5 a.m., like the earliest the plane can take off. I'm on one of these flights.
Right.
So this, it's a little commuter plane. Okay, so there's 2 and 2. There's not even 3 seats per aisle.
Little
it's
puddle
only
jumpers,
2.
yeah.
So we're going from like, I think it was like Appleton, Wisconsin to Chicago or something. It's like a 45-minute flight.
Right.
All right.
Quick little daddy. Yeah.
Nothing crazy. 3, a family, mom, dad, son, adult son. Okay. They are seated in 3 seats that are not theirs.
I don't know. I don't know if you can tell. If I was a cat right now, or any furred animal,
flicking.
just and all my hair's on. It's all standing up right now.
Okay.
I'm just already. I
get in. I'm getting ready. Like I said, love to sleep on a plane. So I've got like my little pillow. I've got my window seat. I'm trying to get comfortable.
Yeah.
So these 3 people are not in the correct seats. Not a single one of them is in the right seat. So at 3 different points, other passengers come up and are like, "Hey, I think you're in my seat." And the other passengers are being very kind, and they're like, "Oh, ma'am, I'm like showing the ticket, like, oh, I think 24A, like I think that might be, you know." And the woman was so like, "How is this my problem?" She was like, "Yeah, well, my seat's up there, so just go take my seat. It's the same. I don't understand what the difference is." And because I'm sitting
fucking
the aisle
Komodo
over.
dragon anger, dude.
I'm sitting the aisle over, and I'm like blatantly staring at her because I'm like, so at 3 different times, and the one guy was like, "No." Straight up, no. He's like, "I paid for this seat. This is the seat that I'm taking." Because we were like toward the front of the plane. They're not like the shitty seats at the back.
You choose the seat for a reason.
And then she pulls this one out. She goes, "Well, my son is neurodivergent and he needs to sit with us." And it took everything in me not to be like, "Then why didn't you book your seats together?" Because I'm like, now you're making this everyone's problem. I don't know if it's, and by the way, this is a United flight. This isn't Southwest where you just go sit wherever you want. You have to pre-select seats. So I was like, how on this planet did you get to this point where you can just sit wherever you want on a flight and then get mad at the people whose seats that you took? I was seething. I was so mad at her because 3 people in a row. "Oh, well, this is my son and he has issues and he has to sit with me," or this or that. And then the stewardess gets involved and it's 5 a.m. This is no one's problem but yours. Do you understand? And so for her to just have that energy of, "We'll just go sit somewhere else," is like unreal to me. How do you get like that?
First of all, I am right now trying to keep myself calm.
I couldn't sleep.
I'm so glad I'm not like a telepathic time traveler who can inhabit the bodies of others. Because right now I would just onto that flight
back into there
and just be like, like into one of the flight attendants and be like, "Excuse me, bitch," whack, and just get her off the plane.
I was so mad.
Because that is an attitude of, "I am more important than you. I am better than you. My life matters more." It doesn't, or whatever it is. It's just like,
my comfort matters more than yours.
My comfort is more important than your actual responsibility.
Paid
where
seat.
where you took time to do this right. Yes. Oh, motherfucker. The amount of times, I think we talked about this specific thing on another episode, but I don't give a shit. It will always piss me off. The amount of times that I've been on the plane and someone this hasn't happened a ton, but more than it should have, where I am sitting in a window seat. I always sit in the window seat.
Too. So where
that
you
is
can
my
sleep.
seat. It's where you can sleep. It's where you can be uninterrupted. And if you're like me and you used to have a weirdness with turbulence, looking out the window helps.
Okay.
I fly enough now to where I know what turbulence. I'm fine. But but the amount of times someone has been like, "Hey," 2 people wanting to sit together, and they're like, "Can we switch?" And the seat that they're offering are like it's like a middle seat.
Say no.
And I say I do. I've always said no.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, no. And
if it is another window seat, will you switch?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's another window seat and it's not in the very back of the plane, because there was one time where I was like, I'm like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like,
I'm not going back there.
I'm so, and they understood. They were like, no, we get it.
You talk about being Italian, like I might have status.
Yeah. But no, it's the thing of like, well, also, or it's like, I'm sorry, I'm in a first class seat and you're, because that would be, I would almost respect that.
Like someone from 35F comes up, it's like, "Hey man, my wife, do you mind if we?"
Someone comes up, it's like, "Excuse me, I'm in 40D, but I just really want to sit up front, and your seat looks great. Could you?"
I've never sat up front before.
I'd be like, "Yes."
Actually, I don't.
I just respect the fucking gall.
I think so.
I don't. Yeah, you're clearly a warlock.
Right.
So I'm gonna get on your good side right now.
Like, I don't know, you gotta send this thing down, but yeah, that's fine.
The confidence, he probably can fucking do magic.
Right, exactly.
Or they, I couldn't tell, you know. But that level of like, so.
Like, and that's the thing, is that entitlement? Is that not being self-aware? Is that a mixture of it?
It's
Is
all
that,
that.
not giving a shit?
It's not giving a shit. It's
truly thinking, how could you even think that I couldn't sit next to my son? Then fucking book your seats together. So you would rather, instead of, maybe it's a, $20 upcharge?
Yeah.
You would rather inconvenience 3 people, slow down the boarding process, and ultimately delay the flight.
And also, I got to throw this out there. I feel like, and I might be wrong here, but I don't care. This is how I feel. And if I'm wrong, I'll figure it out. Someone who throws the term neurodivergent around, to me, means that the kid probably
Adult son.
The kid probably has very mild on the spectrum autism and just gets a little nervous.
Well, neurodivergent can mean dyslexic. It can mean you're not a great reader.
Right.
Like, it's such a huge umbrella term.
Right.
And it's a hot trigger word right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's her way of being like, I don't have to specify.
And fuck that. And fuck that. Because if it's also like, or what if he's just a spoiled little shit and needs his mommy near?
Right.
And what, we all got to give up and fuck off?
Yeah.
No. And also, like, because, okay, so this was maybe a month ago in New Orleans. I was at a Walgreens, and the older woman in front of me, bought a bunch of stuff and then was just really taking her time putting it all into her bag that she bought. And the cashier and I made eyes, and then the woman behind me went, excuse me, miss, could you please bag your items elsewhere? We're all trying to check out. And the woman goes, I'm moving at a speed that I'm comfortable with, and I'll be out of your way in a second, please. And she just kept going. And then someone else in the back behind that goes, old bitch, move. And of course, I laughed. Everyone sort of
Granny
laughed.
Slow Tits.
But this woman got very just like, well, now I'm going to ask to see the manager.
Yeah.
Now I feel it. And then she got very.
Yeah.
But luckily, everyone involved was like, no.
Right.
Everyone involved.
You're wrong
was
here.
like, no, including the employee was
Yes.
like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I have to side with them. There's ample space for you to bag your stuff.
Right.
Please, you do have to. And she, I'm not moving. And then she got all indignant. And then the employee bag, like, put her stuff in a separate bag. She's like, I don't want that bag. I don't want a plastic bag. That's why I brought my own bag. And then eventually became a thing where the manager did come and was like, ma'am, just come over here and we'll talk about this.
When did this start? People have always been like this.
Right.
But when did it start becoming so over the top?
Yeah.
Is it post-pandemic? Is it, it feels like no one can be inconvenienced.
Well, because it's because everyone wants to feel attacked now, and everyone wants to feel like their way of life is being. But like, you look at that situation, you're like, oh, and I'm gonna be just fucking real with it here. It was an older white woman. I don't know how old. I'm gonna guess 59 to 65, in that range. An older white woman who it was uptown New Orleans on Magazine Street. She was probably from that area. She definitely grew up privileged her whole life, probably married into money or had money of her own, has never been spoken to that way before.
Yeah.
And of course, the employee and the woman behind me are black.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So of course, she's a little bit like not being racist, but being racist in her own way. And there is that type of person who grows up under a certain, a level of privilege, who has opportunities throughout their life to become self-aware.
Yeah.
And this is one of those. Of course,
But she's not going to look at it that way.
Ever going to take that opportunity.
This could be a moment of growth or self-reflection.
Yeah.
You know what? You mentioned the race thing. My dad, this happened with my father. So I'm on air. I'm on radio. I'm sorry. Continue your story. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I want to hear
Was that
this.
the end of it?
No. I mean, that was it. It was just a moment of like, wow, you could have, woman, I would have respected her more if she'd been like, fuck off.
Right, exactly.
And then they would have just had a verbal spat and then it would have been over, right? And it would have been over. But instead she made it this whole situation of like, this will not stand.
Yes.
I was wrong. Then the manager clearly just did the step aside so that we could all just check out and won. And probably like, I don't know, said here, call corporate.
Right.
I don't know what he did because
here's my ID number or whatever.
This was the funnest part. This was the funnest part, where she was like, I have been coming here for 20 years, and the guy was like, I'm pretty sure this store has only been open for about 10. You know what I mean? It was just one of those moments of like, you haven't been coming here for 20 years.
People who sit down at a restaurant and they're like, I've been waiting for 45 minutes. And it's like, we sent you a text 8 minutes ago. Like.
I mean, that's such a fucking. Well, that's also another thing. If you are an asshole to wait staff, it tells me everything I need to know.
Did you ever work in service industry?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I come from a service industry family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My family has a catering company.
Yep. Okay.
Like I grew up. My work in restaurants is very limited, but I worked at catering events my entire life, which are mobile restaurants, which are a shitty shit show.
Yeah.
So I mean, I grew up as a kid working on weekends for my family catering company, and into my early 20s until I moved to I was always doing that shit. So like service, like I think like in Israel, for example, where teenagers when they graduate high school have to serve in the military.
Yeah.
For like 2 to 3 years. Greece also does this. I think in America, when you graduate high school or leave high school, you then mandatorily have to spend a minimum of 2 years in the service industry.
I agree. I could not agree more.
Yeah. And I don't care. I don't care how much money your family has. I don't care. I don't care if you are a fucking Mensa level genius and you are destined to go to the fucking Air Force Academy and then eventually to NASA, and you're the only person who can figure out eventually cold fusion.
Yeah.
Before you get on that path, you are spending 2 years as a barista.
Yeah.
You have to do it so your humanity is in check.
You're gonna have some 70-year-old man shake his ice at you.
Oh.
Just the empty ice can, and I'm like, I'm sorry. What does this mean?
And then you walk over.
Could you use your words, dude?
Yeah.
Well, because you know what? Now that you mentioned the service industry thing, I feel like a part of this whole entitlement and my issue with people not being self-aware probably comes from bartending as well, where it's like the way that people. I was a bartender,
and that's
forever.
where you get. That's where you get people who like. All of a sudden get, because that's my thing with alcohol. I'm sure as sober you are now. Alcohol does not create the problem. It simply uncages it.
Yeah.
It simply unleashes it.
That's it.
So whatever fucked up shit you say
It's
and
in
do,
there.
It's in there on some level.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, and like you say, people not respecting restaurant workers. And I think that'll always be the case. It's gotten better,
Sure.
I think, with just in more accepting generations.
Yeah.
But like I worked at a members only bar. So they had to pay a fee to be there. And you're talking very entitled people.
In Cleveland too?
In Cleveland. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, okay, you have a yacht.
Yeah.
You're a member of a yacht club.
Yeah.
You live in Cleveland, buddy.
Yeah.
Like you need to, you got to tone it down.
You can't even be on that yacht half the year.
9 months out of the year, you can't be on that yacht.
Yeah, it's like,
so
it's a blue collar city, and you're walking here with a white collar popped up.
Bro.
Get the fuck out of here.
And the thing is that I got to talking to several times at that job where they were straight up like, you cannot talk to our customers this way. And I was like, the fuck I can't. Like, because you're not going to.
They can't talk to you that way.
But that was never
Why
it.
never that?
It's never that because of they're members, they have certain benefits, they have certain they have certain entitlements. It's just
but I hate how that whole customer's always right mentality removes the humanity of it. I hate that.
Not even the humanity. It removes the responsibility. It removes the that's responsibility is not the word I'm looking for. It's like
well, no, I think the responsibility to be a fucking
to be a human
to treat
being,
another like an equal.
Yeah,
like, just because
I'm below you.
just because someone's serving you fucking food doesn't mean they're below you.
Right.
Maybe they make less money than you. Maybe they're not as successful as you are, but that doesn't mean they're below you.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And like the amount of like, dude, oh my god, I can't even imagine some of the horror shit show.
Terrible. And when I talk about this, it's so funny when I talk about this.
And it was a lot of other women too, wasn't it?
Oh, only women almost on our staff.
Oh, no, I'm talking about who are
people
shitty
being
to you.
shitty.
Yeah.
No, I get more in comedy where it'll be women who will come up to me and be like, I normally hate female comics. And I'm like, you can just skip that whole part and just say,
just
I
say
thought
you
were
enjoyed
great.
the show. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking
I didn't get it that much in serving. I did have a couple interactions where like and here's another thing that drives me fucking crazy is that I don't know if it's from being a woman or working in a male dominated field of stand up is when people question me on things that I clearly know more than them about. So I worked at a bar for a while that craft beer was our thing. Like, and we had what were called beer geeks at every store.
Oh,
where
God.
we went.
I'm just like, ugh.
I know it's bad. Just listen.
Yeah.
So we went to like training sessions at breweries. We learned how to make the beer. We learned the nuances of it. Like I knew at that point in my life, I was still drinking. I knew everything there was to know about craft beer.
Yeah.
And people would ask me for recommendations. I would suggest something that I know they're gonna like, and then they would like turn their nose up at it. Or they'd have a beer list. I'm like, can I get you anything? Do you want a sample of this? And I'd be like, oh, no, I'm good. And then they'd wait for a male bartender to walk by and be like, hey, man, what do you think about this IPA? And I'm like, that asshole drinks Bud Light. Like I am the head bartender beer geek at this store. I know I have every question that you want to answer. And maybe it is me getting a little like, because I when my boyfriend and I first started dating, I'm getting into a whole thing. He has OCD.
Yeah.
So one thing that, do you have OCD too? Yeah. One thing
Watch my special, #1 on Peacock. All about it.
One thing that I didn't realize about OCD is that you have to confirm things several times. And it's not that he doesn't necessarily trust me. It's that when I say something to him, it has to be like, he has to know, yes, this is the way that it is.
He has to hear yes a prime number amount of times in order to prevent the apocalypse.
A prime number, and he has to count it exactly what it was. And if he messes his fingers up, then we got to start. We got to go back to bed.
I mean, dude, yeah, exactly. The day has to restart.
Exactly.
Well, I feel it.
But I'll never forget. We were on a date at a restaurant he had never been to that I was a regular of. It's down the street from where I was living. I was like, I love this place. He's a vegetarian. Lots of vegetarian options. We go there. He asked about mac and cheese. He was like, oh, it's vegan mac and cheese. I wonder what it's made with. And I was like, oh, it's made with cashew milk. And then the waitress came over and he goes, hey, what is your vegan mac and cheese made with? And I looked at him and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because sure as shit, she goes, it's made with cashew milk. And then he's like, oh, that's great. And then she walked away. He didn't think anything of it. And I looked at him and I was like, did you not believe me? Like, I was starting a fight. I was like, when I said it, did it not mean as much as when the waitress said it? Or like, what is the problem here?
I love how like you're saying all that and he's on his phone. He goes, oh, it is made with cashew milk. What?
Right, like, he looked it up a third time. Yeah, exactly.
Hear from another source.
But I realized in fights like that, with him, that it's like, okay, maybe this is a me problem.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
I get a little
but this is part of your self-aware journey.
And it's like, I've worked so hard to be self-aware that it makes me mad when other people couldn't give two shits. But I also have to remember that I lived my life in a blackout for a decade. Of just me, whatever I want.
Right,
I'll fuck your husband. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll get thrown out of this Applebee's. I don't give a fuck.
I'll fuck your husband in this Applebee's.
Watch me, bitch.
Get thrown out. But, they paid for it.
2 for Tuesdays.
What? That's 2 holes.
You like that?
Yeah, that's fucking. I hope that's actually. I don't hope that's true, but it would be funny if that is true.
If I fucked a husband in an Applebee's
and got thrown out.
I didn't. No.
Okay. Such a like. Wow. Let's hear that one person show.
I did get too drunk at a Chuck E. Cheese during a children's birthday party.
How can you get drunk at a Chuck E. Cheese? They serve booze at Chuck E. Cheese.
Maybe that's another Midwest thing. Our Chuck E. Cheese's for a while had beer. I don't know if they still do. They used to be like way more loose with it, and then I think parents were getting drunk and they're like 1 beer per ID.
Yeah, that's fucking. You're buying it for the kids. Like, here you go.
Just try it. Don't tell your mom.
You want to go jump in the ball pit?
Don't
try
tell
this.
your mom.
Yeah.
That slide's gonna be way more fun.
Oh wait, speaking of, okay, you said mom. What was the story with your dad on the radio?
Oh, so you're talking about the lady being kind of racist. So
yes.
As a self-aware moment, right? My dad was a very racist person.
Okay.
That we were almost raised to be racist, where it was like it was just in our house that the jokes were inappropriate and the way that they would talk about black people, my mom and my dad, and it's hard when everyone you're around and your whole family and they all act and speak and think the same way. Yeah. So I get this job on radio and they go, hey, your dad's calling in. And my heart sank because I was like, he's going to say something racist. Like I straight up said that. I was like, please be careful with the questions that you ask him. Jesus. Because you say, I'm like, I know what's in there. Okay. Yeah. I know the way that he speaks freely. Please be careful with whatever you're about to say. It's all
going to be hilarious.
Right.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, Alan, my boss, the guy whose radio show it is, Alan Cox, I shouldn't have even said anything because he took the bait and we were going back and forth. I think we were talking about dating or something. Right. And Alan goes, real quick, Tony, before I let you go, what would you think if Mary brought home a black guy? And I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like I was going to puke because I was like, I can't stand you. I can't believe that you just asked him this. And my dad went quiet.
Wait, this is your co-host?
This is the host of the show. It's his show.
And this is so because you said,
because I said,
what? You know what?
Because I said, I know. I was like, he knows how to do radio, this asshole, right?
Respect.
So, because I said, watch it. He's either going to curse or he's going to say something racist or whatever. So he took that nugget and said, hey, real quick before I let you go. Because we had a pretty nice, decent Mary's dad's calling in, ha 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 conversation. Then he goes, what would you do if Mary brought home a black guy? And my dad goes quiet on the other line for a few seconds. And he goes, that'd be a real hard pill to swallow, like that. So it wasn't like he didn't drop an N-bomb. It's not the worst thing he could have said.
Right.
But I was just like, oh my God.
It's like ninth worst on the list.
So
you're like,
he
okay.
said that, and
Yeah.
then it was funny because we broadcast live, obviously, and then we also have a YouTube stream. So my dad is listening after his call, and people are calling in and like, Mary's dad's a racist piece of shit, this, that, and I can't really defend it.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say? You know what I mean?
Jesus, that's a fucking...
And so he had this moment where he was like, am I racist?
Oh.
And I had to tell him, I was like, yeah, like you are. Think about all the things you say.
Wow.
Because he said that, and then he went and watched the YouTube stream. You watched the segment back, and he heard what everybody was saying, and he saw all the comments, and he had like an existential crisis.
Okay.
Where he was like, I never thought of myself as a racist person. And then he goes, we had a black waiter at Olive Garden the other day, and I tipped him just the same as I would tip a white guy. And I said, Dad, do you see how you wouldn't have told me that story if it was a white guy? Like, do you not see?
Wow.
But when you talk about moments like that lady at Walgreens, that could have been her moment.
Oh, yeah.
And that was definitely a moment for my dad where he had to take a step back and be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everyone gets those moments in life, and it's whether you choose to acknowledge them or not. Because he could have just as easily been like, fuck all you.
Yeah.
What I said's hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
if he spun it into like a joke, he's like, that'd be a hard pill to swallow. Because from what I understand, black pills are a lot larger than them white pills. They're harder to swallow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then even still, you're like, well, that's okay. You know, softer, but still bad. You know?
Right.
But
I think in everyone's life, there's moments for that. And then you get people like that lady on the plane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have you never had a moment like this?
But
have you never had a moment where you're humbled?
No. And
How?
Because to them, being humbled is being embarrassed or humiliated or insulted, and that's how they will look at it. They'll never accept it as humbled.
That's what it is.
It's a wrongdoing. So the beautiful poetry of this situation is you get those moments in life to be self-aware, to suddenly to learn, but they're not self-aware enough to see them as moments to learn to be self-aware. That to them, they are wronged at every step. They are. No one has ever talked to me that way.
Wow.
I have been coming here for the X amount of years. I am a member. I can't. Do you know my last name? I'm married to / my father is / do you know who I am / I can't believe that they would say this to me. It's instead of wait, hold on. Did I fuck up somehow?
Yeah. Am I the asshole?
Should I take a just look at the mirror? Because sometimes, and you. If you're self-aware, if you at least do this, sometimes you take a look and go, no, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know.
But you had that second where you looked. At least you looked.
Sometimes someone's shitty to you and you're like, huh? And you take a second, you go, no. And you go, hey, man, is there a problem here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is there an issue here? Because I feel like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought maybe, and a communication happens. And you're like, okay, so now they're one of us. We were both just in a bad moment.
Yeah,
That's
it was
all.
just we caught each other on a bad day.
We were both in our heads about shit that didn't have anything to do with each other, and now we're good. Versus, I can't believe that person. You know, so it's like.
I guess that was the piece I never put together. Was that they don't take those moments; they see them as attritions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not opportunities.
Right.
And that is why they will never be comedians.
Ever.
Yeah, because we've got it all.
We're so humble.
We're so self-aware.
My God.
We're
have you
so
ever?
self-aware, right?
Please.
Anyway, how many views are we getting live right now?
Tell me right now. I'm at 52,000 on Instagram.
Way, just so great. I thank you. That is a cooked ass beef right there.
Did we cook it?
Oh yeah, we figured it out.
We did.
Now we don't know. You know, now it's up to the world to eat that beef. But we took that shit. We molded it into a nice. You know what we did? We molded it into a burger. Right? But then during the cooking of it, it kind of got broken up a little bit because there's so many micro beefs. But then we're like, wait, hold on a second. What if we throw this into a non-vegan mac and cheese? And make like a beef.
What kind of milk? Whole 2%?
We got to go whole. Come on, at this point.
Let me ask. Mike, what kind of milk was it? Was it whole? Was it 2%?
Mike knows.
It was cashew milk. How dare you ask me that?
Cashew milk.
Oh, God damn it. So it's a vegan.
We're both wrong.
So it's like a vegan mac and cheese that's ruined by the beef but made better at the same time.
Hamburger helper.
Yeah.
Vegan hamburger.
Except it's actual hamburger. Yeah. We made a beef into a hamburger helper and it's delicious.
I love it.
That's what
perfect.
we fucking did, man.
We did
Wait, so not only are you, because I want everyone to listen to this radio show that you're on.
It's called The Alan Cox Show. So you can get it anywhere you get podcasts. We also put it out as a podcast. But it's terrestrial radio. So if you're anywhere within 90 minutes of Cleveland, Ohio, you can listen to it on 100.7 WMMS.
Bam.
Or anywhere for free on your iHeartRadio app. Ding.
There you go.
Yeah. That's where you
Yeah.
can listen to it.
And you're touring pretty constantly.
So yeah, I just got off of like 4 months on the road,
Yeah.
taking the summer off, and then I'll pick back up in fall.
In the fall?
In the fall.
Where can
So
people see dates?
You can see dates at marysantora.com, or I'm always posting on TikTok, Instagram at Mary Santora Comedy. I've got a Facebook, I got Twitter, I got all of it.
Okay, yes, I follow you on Mary Santora Comedy. Still, I don't know if it's up there still. I told you about this last year when I saw you in San Francisco. Still one of my favorite promos ever.
Oh,
was
yeah.
the slip and slide
The
promo.
slip and slide.
Is that still on there?
It's still on there.
I mean, it's probably buried under...
Way buried, because
So-
it was from July of 2022. It was July of last year. I was headlining Hilarities.
Yeah.
So we took our first family vacation. All my siblings and everything, because my dad died in 2021.
Okay, sorry.
And so we kind of had that moment where we're like, we're all in different parts of the state, and my one brother's in Louisville. We're like, we don't see each other enough, and a lot of times death can do that, where it's like we got to make more of an effort. So
and in the eulogy, you were like, and he died non-racist, by the way.
Hey, we fixed it.
He figured it out.
We reversed.
Better late than never.
Right. But
he's going to be surprised when he finds out St. Peter's black, but he's also going to be cool with it.
Totally crazy. He doesn't know that Jesus isn't white. So just everybody, don't tell him. Let him figure it out when he gets up there. But we took our first full fit. So I have 5 brothers and sisters. And then all their spouses. It was 24 people in total, between siblings, spouses, nieces, nephews, cousins, everything.
Okay.
So we got this big lake house, and the one day my brother came home from he was like, all right, I'm going out for a few hours. And he came back to the house with, he went to Lowe's and got a giant tarp and like lawn stakes and a big gallon of bubbles.
Yes.
And he's like, we're going to, because it was like on a hill, he's like, we're going to do a slip and slide today. So the kids are losing their mind. Everybody's having a good time. And then I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I said, hey, children who are having fun with your cousins for the first time on family vacation, I need to take this over for about 15 minutes. So I like, the promo's on my Instagram. But I like slide down like I'm laying on my side. And I slide down. My sister's sitting at the bottom waiting with a camera. I slide right up to it. And
perfect.
And I pitch my dates. Hilarities, June 30th to July 2nd. Tickets at hilarities.com. Everyone's like, how many takes was it? How many takes was it? How many takes was it? And honestly, I had my mom recording it first.
Yeah.
So the first video was like of the sky.
Right.
I was like, Mom, you have to flip it. She's holding it, and it's like the leaves.
Yeah.
The second video, the slide was perfect, but I fucked the dates up. So I was like, God damn it. So it was 3. It only took 3 takes. So by the third take, we had it like down. But yeah.
I just like to think there wasn't even a take. You were just, I think it was a random moment. Where someone was just filming, like, oh, look at all this fun. Having. Oh, look, Mary's on the slip and slide. And then you realize, like, oh, there's a camera.
What a perfect time.
Just plug it. And it's so like.
But the thing is, I'm laying on my side with like a
pretty
leg up.
hilarious.
So if that's how I would just go down slip and slides, though,
Why not?
That's how I come into
Glamour
life.
sliding, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how I do it.
But yeah, that is a promo I'll never top. It was
pretty fucking
literally
amazing.
perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, see Mary on all the socials. Go see her live. You're for real funny as fuck.
Thank you.
And also not bullshit.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like you actually have like the Mary Santora perspective.
Thank you.
And that's dope. So see Mary, eat the beef we just cooked.
Eat my beef.
Eat the fucking beef.